Hey there survivors, how's it going? I'm your host Douglas here at Dromboy Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collectors video. And in today's video we have some really cool new Ghostface pieces. Most of these are things I have not owned before, but we do have some that I have gotten recently that are newer products. But let's just go ahead and dive right in. And today's video is actually sponsored, but before you click away, this is not sponsored by just some random company. This is actually something that has to do with Ghostface stuff. Today's video is sponsored by Royal Baubles. Warren Royals actually reached out to me and offered to send me this Ghostface bobblehead as well as the Spirit Halloween one. At this time, I've only received this one. This is the new Hot Topic exclusive Ghostface, and this one is probably one of my favorites so far. If you guys don't know who Royal Baubles are, they make some incredibly cool bobbleheads of horror figures as well as some non-horror, I think. But personally, I'm mainly interested in the horror stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Of course, many of you have seen their massive selection at Spirit Halloween of many different characters, but what I mainly collect are the Ghostface ones. I do love all the others as well, but just because my collection is mainly Ghostface themed, that's what I'm going after. And Royal Baubles can be found in many different places online and in stores. Some stores have exclusives, such as Hot Topic, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the new Hot Topic exclusive Ghostface Royal Baubles. This one may be my favorite so far. Previously, I think it was probably the one of Ghostface popping out of the theater, but this one is really cool because it's Ghostface in a rental store, or just a movie store in general, and he's stabbing through a VHS tape, and you can see some other tapes in the background. Now, unfortunately, with this one, we don't get any, abstract Easter eggs for the cover artworks of these. When they did the theater version, they had some, really abstract versions of movie posters that you could kind of tell what they are. This one, they're all pretty generic VHS tapes, and I wish they kind of would have had, some stuff on them, but overall, it's not bad at all. It looks really cool. And I guess with the way that the tapes are stylized, it's supposed to be kind of like an ode to Blockbuster. You've got the blue and white, and I think a little bit of yellow as well, yeah. As for the rest of the packaging, on one side you've got the Scream 4 TD image, the other side the full image of Ghostface with that mask. On the front here you can see a nice full frontal image of the figure, and on the back you get a bit of a side profile. It's also worth noting that this piece is pretty bloody. There's blood splatter on Ghostface's mask, on the knife, on the VHS tapes, and yeah, overall the body and of course the base is a completely new sculpt. Royal Baubles has done some different colorways, like a chrome version, a glow-in-the-dark version, stuff like that, but they also have done some that have entirely different bases, and this is one of those. As for opening this one and taking a better look at it, I think I'll wait until I get the Spirit Halloween version to unbox them and actually take a look at the bobbleheads themselves. But I wanted to at least show you guys this piece and let you know that they are in Hot Topic currently, so if you are trying to collect these, go and get them. Because I didn't even see any posts about these coming to Hot Topic in advance. I just stumbled upon it in person. Moving right along, we're going to go for another really cool Ghostface merchandise piece, and this is one that I picked up recently at Ultimate Party. My Ultimate Party actually was pretty stocked with Ghostface merchandise. A lot of it was sold out, but they did still have quite a bit, and I picked up some really cool stuff that I was already supposed to get this year. And one of my favorites, of course, is the Coffin Cooler returning. If you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that the Coffin Cooler, the original version, is one of my favorite Ghostface merchandise pieces. I love it so much. The packaging, the actual piece itself, it's so cool. And now they have brought them back. However, this is not a reissue of the original, this is an entirely new product. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. On the front here, you just have Ghostface, inflatable, Coffin Cooler, a couple different languages. You've got the Ghostface Lives branding. The price for this in store was $30. You have the Scream 5 branding here in the lower right-hand corner. And then it just has the Coffin Cooler inside, and it says it's 30 inches by 44 inches by 25 inches. So not massive, but not tiny either. On the opposite side, you have pretty much the same exact thing, but they flipped it, so I guess you can have it standing like this, or like this, however you decide to display it. There's not all the cool writing. Like Fun World used to have all these fun little quips about what you could do with it, how to use the decoration. I really love that stuff. Those write-ups are really cool, and this doesn't really have that. It's like, here's your product. But still, overall, I like the packaging, and of course, I like the product itself. But let's talk about the actual cooler, because like I said, this one is entirely different from the original. As for the shape of the coffin itself, it actually kind of looks pretty round. It doesn't really seem coffin shaped like the other one was. It could be because this is full of drinks and ice already. Maybe it's being pushed out, or maybe it's just an entirely different shape. But my friends that were with me when I found this thought initially that it was a kiddie pool because of the shape of it. As for Ghostface, you have like some purple highlights kind of making the details and features, which I really like. Purple or blue highlights on the robe looks really, really good. The knife itself looks pretty large, almost like a machete. As for the mask image looks great. I think that's really, really cool. And really outside of that, there's not a ton to note. Not too many more details. It's just an inflatable cooler. So if you're looking to have a really fun Halloween party, especially a Ghostface themed party or something like that, these are definitely worth grabbing. If you're a collector and you just like having the weird odds and end merchandise like I do, this is definitely a cool one to grab. I initially had ordered those as well as some of the rest of the items we're about to take a look at whenever I made my order with Fun World. Unfortunately though, I guess it was a bit too late and they were pretty much sold out of the stuff we're about to take a look at. They did still have the coffin coolers and I could have got those, but since I wasn't able to get a majority of the masks, I just decided to wait until next year. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the masks that I picked up from Ultimate Party. And we're going to start it off strong with the golden chrome Ghostface masks. These are brand new, and this is something that fans have been wanting for a while. This is not the first gold Ghostface that was made, however. There were some really, really cool metallic style ones that were done back in the day, but they are incredibly, incredibly rare. Super hard to come across. It's also worth noting that there were those really awesome gold shroud versions with metallic faces, normal face, whatever, that Tim Wagstaff ended up with. Those are incredibly, incredibly cool. But we're here to talk about these new golden masks. As for the tag, you've got the Ghostface branding nice and big, Ghostface Lives, Fun World, Scream 5 branding, and the word golden in a nice golden looking font. The mask itself is one of the higher quality hard plastic masks, and obviously sculpt-wise they're great masks, and as far as the gold on this, it's pretty darn good. The only complaint that I have with these masks, and this is just something you're going to run into with making something like this, is that the paint on all of them was pretty much flawed. On the ones I came across, each and every one of them had some small issues in like the gold finish. Even these themselves do have issues. It's like a weird bubbliness to the paint, and I think this one had just like a couple of surface scratches. Because the metallic masks like this, whether it's the chrome one, the golden one, they're pretty easy to scratch. And yeah, I mean, they're great masks for display, they're great masks to wear, but just longevity of like use and abuse wise, they're pretty easy to damage. And it do seem that they come with quite a few defects from the factory. But I picked out the nicest two they had, so I would at least have two here. And like I said, both of them have some, small defects, but I'm pretty happy with them overall. I like these. I don't know if I like them more than the chrome versions. It's really hard to say. I need to get them side by side to really, really know. But I think it's just I've seen the chrome for so long, it's just really iconic. These are definitely really, really great masks, though. I'm really happy we have them. As for the price on these, they were very shocking. These were only $10 in stores, which I think is pretty much cheaper than anywhere else I've seen them, and I think they were pretty close to that to order them. I can't remember if it was these that were pricey or the bling masks. I know the bling masks were pretty pricey though. And also, I guess I'll mention this. They did have the glow-in-the-dark bling masks when I was there. However, all the copies looked just not great. Like, really, really not great. And because I was already buying other stuff, I really didn't feel like dropping $20 on a mask like that when there were so many other way cooler masks. And this was pretty much the only new one that you guys have not seen on the channel yet, but I do have a few others, so let's go ahead and take a look at those. When I saw they had them, I had to pick up a pair of the Arctic Ghostface masks. These are incredibly hard to come across this season. I don't know if they made these in very small runs or if they've just been selling very well, but it's been pretty hard to get a hold of them, and this was actually the first thing that was canceled off of my order list. And I was pretty bummed about that because these are so freaking cool, guys. I really, really love this design. Personally, I think this is my favorite Dead by Daylight Ghostface mask they've produced so far. I love that it's the classic EU, but with a really cool new paint job. The fact that all of these are hand-painted means that all of them are unique and different. Some copies have a lot more white. Some copies, it's just like the very edges of the eyes and lips. And some are more blue, like I think this one has a lot more blue, whereas this one has a lot more white frostbite on it. And if you don't know, as for the shrouds on these, they actually have a bendable wire in the edge of the shroud, so you can shape it however you want, which is really, really cool. And I wish they were doing that on all of the masks with like these dwarf style shrouds, because I think it's such a cool feature. But overall, I'm just really happy to see it on these. As for the price on these, they were $15 in stores, which is, yet again, I think pretty good considering I paid $25 for one on eBay, and that was the absolute best deal I could come across anywhere. I'm really stoked to add 2 more of these to the collection, and both of these have much better paint than the first one I got. This was the second item that was canceled off of my order. Here we have the Crypt creature Ghostface. Probably one of the ones I was most excited about for many, many different reasons, but let's go ahead and sit one down and talk about it. Of course, this is supposed to be a new version of the Cryptic Gauze Ghostface. These are entirely different though. The Cryptic Gauze had a T-stamp mask that did not glow in the dark, and the tag said it was supposed to glow in the dark. These, there's no glow star, but I'm pretty confident they don't glow. The mask itself though is a standard Easter Unlimited EU stamped mask. As for the shroud, it's pretty much just your standard black polyester shroud, but with the gauze material added on top. Whereas with the original Cryptic Gauze, it was a little bit longer shroud and it had airbrushed gray and brown tones on it just to make it look a bit more earthy. As for the gauze material too, it was entirely different. Previously, it was the type that would really like wad up and roll up into these nice streams that looked really cool and creepy. Whereas with this, it's very, very flat and it's almost just kind of like a bonnet piece. It's cut and put on, and then you have like streams of fabric coming off. I know a lot of people have kind of been hating on these, but personally, I'm still really happy to see these brought back. I think it's a really cool style. It would be cooler if it had all the dirty tones to it and stuff like that, but just as is, I'm pretty happy that they made these. And for those of you who really, really wanted one, if you really needed a standard EU, you could pull this fabric off of the shroud, and you pretty much have a standard EU. However, it has been said that standard EUs have made a return. Initially, it was reported to be in Walgreens only. I've checked with every Walgreens anywhere near me. None of them say that they've got them or that they will be getting them. So for those of you who have left comments about that, I am definitely trying to find them. However, currently I have no leads on them. I don't have one. And yeah, when we get them, I'll definitely do a video on it. But at the moment, this is going to be the closest thing I have. As for price on these, they also had these for $10, which is really great because yet again, $25 was the cheapest I could find one online, and I think even those were like $25 plus shipping, so a little bit more expensive. And I guess it's also worth noting that I did pick up 2 more aged Ghostface masks, but I kind of showed one of those at least in the previous video, and I think they also had those for $10, which is incredibly cheap because it's the normal style tag, not the Spirit tag, and they're like $7 cheaper than Spirit, and even if you have the 20% discount, still a much better deal to get them there than pretty much anywhere else I've seen. And with that being said, I guess I'll go ahead and let you guys know this because you probably can already tell, but I just found out. I usually use my microphones, but apparently forgot to hit record on Audacity, so I've done this entire video without hitting record. So we're just going to go ahead and use the standard GoPro audio. We'll fix that in the next video. I just want to go ahead and get this one out, but hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you all. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.